And we are live. We are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Tuesday Talk. Yes, we are live. Welcome to Tuesday Talk. And we are live. I see the notification has gone out. The notice has gone out that we are live. So sorry for the delay. Every week I say this is an amazing Tuesday Talk lineup that we have, and you don't want to miss this, but it's true because we have so many amazing people in the Kemetic legacy in the sense of who is a Kemetic practitioner, who tunes into Kemetic events that we have, like our solstices and equinoxes, as well as the events that we have live. We have really good shrines and temples that are still in practice, trips we take across the country and across the world, a lot in Africa, on the continent, in Brazil. So we do a lot of work in the Kemetic community. And tonight we are going to have a discussion about what are the top 10 characteristics of being a Kemetic practitioner? Like, what do we do? Besides all the super awesome trips I just mentioned and going to events and things like that, and honoring our ancestors and supporting each other, what are the top 10 characteristics of being a Kemetic practitioner? Like, functionally and practically, how do we do this legacy on a regular basis? On a regular basis, what do you do when you wake up, when you bathe, when you eat, when you're super annoyed with someone? Like, what makes a Kemetic practitioner stand out from other people who are in other religions, who are in the Abrahamic religions? It's interesting because we could probably, if we just sat down, not even really trying, write down 10 things of a Christian, even if we're not a practicing Christian. Christianity is so influential in America and in Western culture and in Black culture, and not just Black American culture, Black Caribbean culture, Black Latin American culture, continental African culture. So what are the top 10 characteristics of our own spirituality? And that's what we're going to learn today. Some of the times when I pick a topic, it's because I want to learn more about it. I either want to go wider on the topic or deeper on the topic. And so this is very important to understand what it is that we do. So you're in for a treat, okay? Tonight, I have two guests. One that I've had on Tuesday Talk before, Sanjeti, Sen Sanjeti, who did an amazing job with Baba Haru's ceremony, and Kamal Ross. I'm going to bring our two guests up right now on the stage. Welcome, 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 brothers, to our live Tuesday Talk. I'm so glad that you both can be here. How are you doing this evening?
Good, good, good. How about yourself?
Good. I'm well. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So we have Kamal Rashid, who is with the Kemetic Institute of Chicago. We also have Sanjeti, who is a distinguished Kemetic practitioner in himself, and is with the Temple of Anu. So before we go into our topic for this evening, Kamal, can you give me a little bit of a background on how you came into the Kemetic legacy, and what was some of your spiritual or religious practices before you came into this legacy?
That's a good question. So for first, do I many thanks.
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh, can you hear me now?
Sanjeti, can you hear him?
Yes.
Oh, now I can't hear you. Oh no. Someone in the
Well,
audience,
I can hear
let
both
me
of
know.
them.
Can you hear Kamal and can you hear Sanjeti?
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you.
Test.
You can hear both of them? Because
Testing,
if you can hear
testing.
both of them, then I'll just miss out. as long as everybody else can hear them, that's really all that's important. Okay. I don't know what's going on with the tech, but
Okay.
we're just going to keep right on rolling. And I'll just, and Kamal, I'll just give you a call. We can talk on the phone. I can hear your answers that way. How about that? So since the audience can't hear you, Kamal, okay, great. Since they can hear you, let us know how you came into this Kemetic legacy.
Hey, appreciate that. So Dua, for having me here, and also Dua to Brother Sanjeti for what he's doing, what he's contributed, towards our to our culture generally, but also to the revitalization of the Kemetic tradition. So I grew up in a Christian household. I'm from the South Side of Chicago. My mother was a Christian, so we grew up going to church. I think up until I was about the age of 14. And after that, during my teenage years, really drifted away from Christianity, and my own personal practice really evolved around this idea of self-development, personal development, the refinement of my mind, the cultivation of wisdom. It would be many years later where I would encounter a Medu Neter term for what I was attempting to become, which Dr. Maulana Karenga writes about this in his book, Ma'at, The Moral Ideal in Ancient Egypt. He writes about the Guru Ma'at, the self-mastered, what he defines as a self-mastered person. And that was really what I really dedicated myself to as a teenager. Though I really didn't understand the Kemetic, paradigm, or hadn't encountered anything pertaining to African spirituality. It wouldn't be until I was an adult, right around the age of 19. You want me to wait? You want me to pause? Can you hear me now?
Okay. So I didn't get a chance to hear what you said.
Okay.
And I'm sure that it was based on your history of how you got into the Kemetic legacy. So I'm going to shift to Sanjeti, and if you could just let us know how you came into the Kemetic legacy, because there are some people who don't know, and just so we can have that balance of your background as well.
How's my volume?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay.
It looks like I'm still backstage.
You're not. I just put you upstage. Put you on the stage.
Can I say a little
Kamal,
bit more? Can you hear me now?
I'm gonna put you backstage, and then maybe put you on stage, and maybe then I can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let me put you backstage. Put you. Kamal.
Hotep, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, I can.
Okay. Let me just say a little bit more.
Okay.
So when I was 19, I purchased this book, Essays in Ancient Egyptian Studies by Jacob H. Carruthers. And that was really, for me, the foundation. That's what started me down the path of studying the Kemetic paradigm. About 6 years later, I ended up being a student at Northeastern Illinois University's Center for Inner City Studies, what today is the Carruthers Center for Inner City Studies, where I had the chance to study with Dr. Carruthers as well as members of the Kemetic Institute, and really continued on from there, working with the Kemetic Institute, joining the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations. And so today I'm the director of the Kemetic Institute of Chicago. I'm the president of the Midwest region for the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations. And I also am involved with the Temple of the African Community of Chicago. So for me, my engagement with Kemetic culture is largely mediated by those three spaces. A couple of others, but those are the big three.
So, do I hear an invitation to go to Chicago and see all of these? And see all of
Come on!
Awesome. That sounds great. I missed the first part of what you were saying. Feel free to interweave that into your answers so that I can just be caught up with everybody else. Okay.
Yes,
so here is the moment of truth. Sanjeti, please say something. I hope I can hear you.
That's correct.
No, I can't hear you.
Oh, man.
My God. I don't understand what's going on tonight. We have such an amazing topic. You can hear me, but I can't hear. I'm gonna take you
Shinkai can hear me
to the stage and then put you back. And then if not, I'm just gonna let it rock. Kamal, can you hear Sanjeti?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So maybe, yeah.
Sanjeti?
I'm here.
All right. I can't hear you.
All right.
Kamal, you can hear him? Can you say something so I can make sure I can hear you?
Yep. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Please don't go on mute because I'm
okay.
All right.
All right.
And I can hear Sanjeti also.
All right.
Kamal can hear both of us. So he's just going to do a little bit of translating and making sure that
All right.
everything is coming from the space that I cannot hear into the space. And it's just going to be an unusual Tuesday talk as it's been so far. But we're going to rock and roll and we're going to get this done because this is a very important topic. Okay. So Sanjeti, let's hear a little give a little background on you.
Okay. So for everyone who can hear me, and as I'm speaking, please confirm that you can hear me. So I started my journey pretty early. In the 1990s, I did start off as a Nawapian, as a teenager. But then at the age of 19, I decided I wanted to be African-centered. So, I met Alchemy Ra, who's the author of Let the Ancestors Speak, Removing the Mysticism from the Medu Neter. He became my first Medu Neter instructor while I was the age of 19. And then that same year, I started college. I also met Infudisha Jehudi Mess, Khan Heru, who is an elder to many of us. And in one of those retreats that I went with Infudisha Jehudi Mess is actually how I met Brother Kamal Rashid. That was the early 2000s, brother. I believe that was like 2002, 2003, maybe.
Yes,
So
sir. I think about 2 or 3. Yep.
Can I jump in? Can you give me a little hit? Just catch me up on what Sanjeti said.
He said that he was a Nawubian and he discovered that he realized he wanted to be African-centered. So he connected up with Alchemy Ra and began to study Medu Neter, and also later on connected with Infudisha Jehudi Mess and began to study with him, went on a number of retreats with him. And that's when we also met through one of those retreats in the early 2000s, about 2002, 2003.
Okay.
And Sister Hamet, I was going to say, if you use a headset, like if you connect on your phone to the live and just use a headphone in one ear, you can hear the live.
Okay, I'll do that. I have to go around upstairs.
Yes, you can hear the live
Might as well
separately.
do that since everything else has been so crazy. So before I step away to go grab that, I'm going to leave you guys with a question. Kamal, perhaps you can go first, and then Sanjeti. Let's get started on those top 10 characteristics of what it means to be a Kemetic practitioner. Can you first start off by defining what does practitioner even mean? Like, what is a practitioner? Okay. And I'll be right back. I'm handing it over to you, Kamal.
Do I appreciate that. So to me, for me, the top thing has to be the practice of Ma'at, practice of the value system, the ethics of Kemet. So I would say that's number one. Brother Sanjeti.
Yeah, I think.
She wanted practice. Should I define practitioner? Should I define that?
I mean, you're right on the money, because what you're talking about regarding ethics, that influences behavior, and then what influences your behavior also influences what you're practicing. So, yeah. But you can hear me, right?
No, go ahead. You said it.
Okay.
So that's perfect.
Yeah. So I mean, so you're hitting it right on the money, because your value system is what dictates how you respond to outside influences, how you respond to your environment and social interactions, how you respond to stress, how you respond to joy, how you respond to failures, how you respond to achieving goals. Okay. It also influences, what you aspire to achieve, and what you aspire to achieve based on what your values are will dictate the means to the end. In other words, what you would do to get there, which is your behavior, what you practice to get there. That's what goes into what it is to be a practitioner, really of anything. I mean, as far as a Kemetic practitioner, I'm sure you would agree that you're practicing a life skills based on the inspiration and value sets found in Kemet. Simply put, like, what is your perspective on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, to me, one has oriented their life around the practice of the values of the Kemetiu, the study of those values, the internalization of those values, right? Just so when Ptah says that every man teaches as he acts, so everyone teaches as they act, right? to me, this is the quintessential expression of what it means to be a practitioner, right? One doesn't just talk about the value system of Kemet or talk about the principles or ideals or other elements of the culture, but one lives those, one reflects those in their character and their way of being in the world. So yeah. And I would say inextricable from that then is study, and I think that is a very important piece, because I think to be a practitioner, to consider oneself a Kemetic practitioner, one must be engaged in study. The study informs the practice,
Mm-hmm. Right. And what you
So
said, that's very
thank you.
important.
Can you guys hear me in real time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm hearing it on delay, but I'm a rock with the delay. So I'm glad that I'm a part of the whole conversation. The last thing that I heard is it's really important that you study, you continue to study while you're a practitioner, because you know the more you study, the deeper you get into it, the more you find other people who are practitioners, and you're able to really get rooted in what it is that you say that you believe, and that is the real truth, and how one is supposed to practice and be a practitioner. It's like when you play in the NBA, you don't just show up for the game unless you're Allen Iverson. You go to practice, you hone your skills, you have like skill specific coaches that help you get better at that one specific drill that you're trying to do. And it's the same thing when you want to practice your spirituality. So yeah, so that definitely makes sense that you want to continue to read, especially considering there's so much information that our ancestors left for us. We have to continue to read as we find more information. There are things that happen that haven't happened before, where the ancient wisdom is applicable to that, to continue to show you that they left us everything we need to know, and there really is nothing new under the sun that they couldn't that they didn't provide instructions for us to use.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I heard was to be in Ma'at. That's one of the most important things, right? To be in Ma'at.
Definitely.
Sanjay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good. What was said after Ma'at? And can you post it in the chat so we can say number one, being in Ma'at, number two, the next thing that was stated.
I'm typing in there, Brother Sanjay. You want to give her a number two?
Well, I have hold on, I have to pull up the PDF here. Not PDF, because I actually prepared slides for some visuals. So
Okay.
of course, we have good character. There's reciprocity, dignity, justice, respect, honoring others, fairness.
Kamal, can you hear Sanjay?
No, I think his connection went out.
Yeah, his connection. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his connection's been going in and out, so he may not be aware.
Oh, here we go. Okay, he's back.
Brother, last one you said honoring other. No, you said shoot, I forgot the last one. I was try to remember to tell you what it was.
All right, so y'all can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying that I have some visuals for y'all.
Yes.
I like visuals. So that goes through that list. I have consubstantiality as the top one, but I have text from the mythoform to to support that. Would y'all like to see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So. Share screen, share window.
You want me to, Sanjetti, you want me to add you again?
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Oh, I see. It's just two.
All right.
Are you speaking, Brother Sanjetti?
Yes.
Hold on,
Can you
I
hear me?
think I have to add
I can't
you.
hear you right now.
Testing. Testing.
Sister Hamed Netcher, Sister Shot, can you hear him?
Testing.
I can hear you, Sanjetti.
Okay. All right. Good deal. How about my screen? I did a screen share. Can you see this? Can you see my screen for the screen share?
I don't see your screen. No,
Okay. So let me put stop there.
I don't.
So, all right. Let's just try one more time. It's gonna be all right. Let's see. Window. All right, I'm doing a share.
You all, I'm so sorry for these technical difficulties. I've been doing Tuesday Talk for years and I've not ever had this. I don't know what's going on.
I can't hear anything. I can't hear. I can't hear you at this point. Let me make sure it's on my computer.
All right, so if I'll just email you the slides. About that. Think that'll be easier. Will it be easier if I just email you the slides?
We can try that.
Okay, let's do that.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, there's always a solution. So this actually exemplifies, the ma'at about being, calm, cool.
Sanjetti, which email are you sending it to?
I'm gonna send it to the one that you sent the update.
Okay. Let me know when you send it. Send it. Kamal, can you say something? You're on mute.
All right, testing.
Sanjetti, I can't hear you.
Testing. But Kamal, you can hear me though, right?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Oh, you hear me? Okay. Oh shoot, I could have been going through the slides at this point. Take advantage of this. I'm sending it to. I'm responding to where you said the correct one. Actually, no, I'll just send it to the other one. Hold on.
Right.
Yeah, because there's other people on that email. Let's do this. So when did you become a Kemetic practitioner? Sis?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on how you define practitioner, but I can tell you that my first experience was with when my aunt was dying in 2014.
Mm.
And to give a little background, I was born and raised in Connecticut. My mother was born and raised in Virginia. She's the oldest of 7. The sister closest to her in age, my mom is the first one. My Aunt Susan was number 2. My Aunt Susan moved to Connecticut, so I grew up having my Aunt Susan in the same state with me. I was very close with her. When she passed away or got sick, it was very devastating. And I was already on a path of wanting to find Black God, which is how I defined it. I said, I want to practice, since African people were the first people on the planet, whatever conversation Africans had with God, that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to find it. I don't know what it looks like. Nothing. But that's what I want. And I'm going to find it. It was one of the most frustrating moments and times of my life, because how do you find something and you don't know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
How, like you don't even know. Meanwhile, 90s hip hop had so many elements of Kemet in it. But if you don't know what you're hearing, like Rakim. But if you don't know Rod, if you don't know Kem, that's just a dope name with no cultural connection. You know what I mean? So anyway, I moved to New York. I was volunteering someplace, and Anika was there. Anika, who was the high priestess of the Shrine of Ma'at and co-founder of the Shrine of Ma'at. I saw her rings, her joyari, and in my head, I was like, that's it right there. I don't know what it is. I don't know. And I just walked right over to her, and she was talking to someone, and I was like, and then I waited until I had they were done talking. I said, hi, how are you? I'm Sai. Nice to meet you. What does that mean? Your rings, they're like amulets. What is this? Can you explain this to me? Like, that's literally the first conversation we had was explain your joyari, even though I didn't know that word at the time. So she explained it to me. And as you know, when you start explaining the Neteru and Neter to people who have no starting point, it can be a little, you're like, my goodness, where do I start? So from there, we exchanged numbers and stayed in touch. My aunt got sick. I knew she was going to die. And at that point in my life, I had stopped praying Christian, like the Christian way. And I needed to pray. I was like, Anika, I need to pray. I need like a place to pray. What I really wanted to say was altar, but I didn't have that word because I hadn't seen an altar used as a space to pray before. Because in Christianity, you go to the altar to give your like soul to Christ, and it's like a big space, which is different than your own altar in your home. You know what I mean? So I remember her explaining to me how to put together an altar, and my first altar was in my closet. It was in my closet because it was big enough for me to create something in there and to just have some private space, and I could sit there and cry and I could pray. And she gave me the Amasu. It had the translation. I had never even seen like what I called hieroglyphics next to words, like English words. But I memorized it. I prayed with that, and that's all I had. And that was 2014. So that was the summer of 2014. Was it the summer? Because she passed September 22nd, 2014. So I don't remember exactly when that whole thing started, but I think it was the summer. So that's when I would consider becoming a Kemetic practitioner. I learned about Ma'at, what the concept of Ma'at meant. I heard the words Medu Neter for the first time because, that's the African term for hieroglyphics. I saw some of the symbols kind of up close, and understood that that was a language and it wasn't just like symbols with no meanings to them. I don't recall exactly being taught about the judgment scene and being your heart being weighed light as a feather, lighter than a feather, and going into the hall of Ma'ati. That came later, but at that particular time, I don't think Anika taught me that, but she definitely gave me the Amasu and how to pray, and that's what I needed at that time. That part is very vivid to me. Setting up my first altar and praying. Whew, that was a hard time. I still miss my aunt. I still ugly cry over my aunt because after my aunt died in 2014, my father got sick in 2015, and then he died in 2016. And I never really fully got all the guttural ugly cry out over losing my aunt. So as a Kemetic practitioner, my understanding, this is the second major thing that happened with me in terms of being a practitioner. My understanding of death, dying, where your soul goes, really kind of still being present and alive in this space, but not in the physical realm, was one of my first major lessons. That's a hard lesson to be your second lesson. Your first lesson is the Joyari and the concept, and then right after that, your aunt dies, and I watched her die, and then your father dies. My father, we were holding hands when he had a heart attack and took his last breath on his own. So I leaned heavily on the understanding of Asar and what that means. I had gone to Kemet with Anika and Jabari, and we spoke to the ancestors, and he let a boat. He put a boat in the Hapi, and so I did that ritual shortly after losing my aunt and my father. So being able to practice those things in a very vulnerable time of my life, it becomes a part of your soul in a way that I just did not understand at that time. And in retrospect, when I look back, I understand that I was really going through that transformation in real time. I remember being in the hospital with my aunt, and there was this woman who was the chaplain, and I was like, I got it, because I'm not praying Christian prayers. I don't even want to hear them. I got this, thank you. And I just shoot her out because we not about to, I can't. It just at that time it just was like friction to me, because I knew that that's not how my ancestors did it, and I had waited so long to find it, and now is my not opportunity, but now is my necessity to use that. So it was like a crash course. It was like a crash course in application, you know. Then I took the Medu Neter with Anika. Oh my goodness, all this stuff happened all within like 36 months, like 3 years of my cousin died 2013, then my aunt 2014, then my dad got sick 2015, then 2016 my dad died, and then I learned the Medu Neter with Anika, which went in one ear and out the other because I was in a bit of a fog. Then I went to Kemet, then I initiated into the shrine of my aunt. So that's what happened. that's how I was brought into this legacy. And then we went through 3 years of priesthood training. So after that, I took a little bit of a break because it was all kind of, I hear you, Sanjay. It was all kind of tied up into beginning with losing my people. So I have an altar for my father with a picture of him. My father was a good looking man. I have his gin and tonic, his vice. Olives, which mean a lot to me because I would eat out of my father's plate and eat his olives because we ate a lot of, Puerto Rican food because I live in Hartford and by that part of town. So when I see olives, I think of him. Anyway, so that's it. So that's how I was able to apply the Kemetic legacy very fast and hard and very emotionally, kind of at the very beginning.
All right. Testing, testing. How's my volume? All right. Now you
I
can hear
can't hear
me.
you. Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, so we're good
It's
there.
good.
So
I can
I'm on
hear
my
you.
phone. I'm on my phone instead of the laptop. So hopefully that solved the problem on my end. So I think this experience
Okay.
and thank you for sharing your experiences and and the memory from your ancestor, your father. I think in live time we are experiencing what it means to practice Ma'at. So our brother Kamal Rashid spoke about the concept of the Geru Ma. So the Geru Ma comes from Geru or Geru, which means stillness, so to be still. And then Ma'a, true. And as an adjective, true. So the truly stilled person, the truly stilled man or woman. So we hold high regard and high value in calmness and coolness of character. Similar to in the Isheshe Legba in the Orisha tradition of Iwapwele and Iwarere. So good character, you have cool character and good character. So we have the same in the Kemetic tradition, and as Kumar Rashid would say, the Geru Ma. So these are things we want to practice. And in being in Ma'at, it's about being in balance, not too much sway to the left, not too much sway to the right, but doing your best you can to live in the middle as much as you can, but remaining calm, cool, calm waters, if you will. So I'm going to see.
Oh no,
Yeah,
Sanjeti, we lost you.
yeah, hopefully he'll be right back
Let me
in.
go ahead and just send a text to Sanjeti. We lost you.
And I'll just, while
Oh,
he,
and here he's back.
oh,
And he is back.
Right. So it's about being calm and cool under pressure, under pressure. So I want to see if I'm able to do a share from my phone. What I did was I pushed the button on the lower right hand side where there's an arrow. It looked like it was a like more on the menu. Come on, brother Rashid, are you on your phone or your laptop?
nah, I'm on the computer. The button with the arrow is the arrow is pointing to the right. That's the disconnect button. It should be a
Oh,
plus, a
okay.
little monitor with a plus sign to share. If you want, you can send me the presentation, or you can
All
send it to
right. I think we're going to do that. We're going to
him.
do that. Yeah, we're
Yes,
going to do
got
that.
it. Okay. Yeah, either way.
All right. I'm going to send it to you. Hold on. I'm going to forward it.
Yeah, because
All right. It's the kamal.rashid.gu, right?
Yep.
so
All
while they're
right.
doing that,
All right. I sent it to you.
I'm gonna go over some of these comments. I want to thank everybody for being here and
Got it.
giving us
All
so much
right.
grace. I see Josh Story. Is that Jason? Urban Lotus Living. Ma'at Hotep to you. Shanka, she's always here. Thank you for your constant support. Let's see. I see Kenneth Ashian or 633. I'm the worst, like, reader of people's handles. So just, I sound like, what is it, Keegan Michael Key when he's a substitute teacher on that skit? Like, so that's not my
Mhm.
it's not my
Mhm.
forte. Life
Okay.
skills based on inspiring and
All
value
right.
sets of Kemet. That's correct. So come on, just let me know whenever you're ready.
Yep, it's processing now. I just uploaded it. It says it's processing. Yep, it's ready.
It, it's processing.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
cool,
ready
cool,
now. It's
cool.
ready now.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna add that other screen of yours,
Okay.
Kamal.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
So hopefully Brother Sonjeti will be back
Let me know in the
momentarily.
chat if you can see this, people. Let me know. Let your girl know.
There he is.
I'm gonna put myself
All right, just in
backstage
time. Yep,
so
there we
there's
go.
less people
I'm
up
just gonna like
here.
not. I'm just gonna not touch anything.
So should I stay here?
All right. Yeah. So,
Or can
all
you
right,
see
let
it?
us
Can you
begin.
control it? Can you control the slides or no? Or you want me to do it?
No, no. So I'll just say slide or next.
Okay. Yep.
I appreciate that, family. All right. So we have the top characteristics of a comedic practitioner. So, I mean, there's a whole plethora of things that you can pull from the literature, from the divine artwork, etc. But we're going to focus on 10. All right, slide. All right. So one of the things that we can learn from people who practice African traditions is that we utilize our mythal forms, our stories, our legends, maxims, and sayings to relate truths. And when you look at the myth of any tradition, the mythology encapsulates the cultural psychology of the people. The mythology encapsulates the psychology of the people, and that our value systems are relayed through stories. And when you're dealing with the mythoforms, especially the creation accounts talk about the worldview. And in Kiswahili, you have Utaratibu wa Kutizama, which means the way of the world. How do we view the world? How do we interact? And what is our connection to the rest of the world? Which also dictates our relationship to other people, etc. All right, let's go to the next. So let us begin with one of these sacred texts that has become known as the Shabaka Stone. Others will say the Memphite theology or the theology of Menefer. So it says this: the heart took shape in the form of Atum. The tongue took shape in the form of Atum. It is Ptah, the very great, who has given life to all the Netzeru and to their cause, through the heart and through the tongue, from which Heru had come forth as Ptah, from which Jehuti had come forth as Ptah. So right here we have this association where one form can take on the character of another form and come into being as that form. So we see symbiotic relationships as related through the story. Continuing, thus the heart and tongue rules over all the limbs according with the teaching that he, Ptah, is in everybody, and it is in every mouth of all Netzeru, all men, all cattle, all creeping things, whatever lives, thinking whatever it or he wishes and commanding whatever he wishes. So at the beginning, the first few words there that's in bold, that's italicized in red, in everybody. So Ptah is inside of everybody and in every mouth and in everything. So this is the concept of consubstantiality, which means that we share in the same substance as as the creative force, or in a more scientific standpoint, in the universe, if you will. If you've ever heard the scientist Neil deGrasse Tyson, he speaks about how biologically we are related to all living things, how anatomically we are connected to all other molecules, etc. And I'm paraphrasing because we come from stardust, if you will, exploding stars. So this is our connections. So we are connected to all things. Let's go to the next slide. So here we have the four great deeds of Ra. Now, this text is found inside of a greater corpus called the coffin text. So the four great deeds of Ra, and we're only reading a portion of it. Ra, the creator, of course, is symbolic, says, I created the four winds so that every person might breathe in his or her time and place. That is one deed. I created the great flood for irrigation so that the humble might benefit from it like the great. My volume?
I can hear you.
My volumes are good?
Yeah, you good.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. All right. I made every person like his or her fellow, and I did not command them to do evil. It was in their own hearts and minds which caused them to disobey that which I commanded. This too was a deed. I made the hearts of men and women so that they would not forget the day of death, so that sacred offerings might be made to the divine powers of the districts. And this too was another deed. Thus, I have created the divine powers from my sweat and humankind from the tears of my eye. So, what do we have here? Number one, says, I created four winds so that everyone might breathe in his or her own time. And then the flood waters for everyone, great and small. What is this? This is human equality. This is a human equality and shared resources so that everyone can have an optimum life. So this is the value system we have here. This is the value of of a combative practitioner to proliferate life and to do what you can in your power to make sure that people around you have resources to live an optimum life. It moves on that I made every person like his or her own fellow. Other translations would say, I created people one like the other, meaning, again, human equality, meaning one is not more valuable than the other. This is written in the mythology. Whereas in other traditions, we say the Abrahamic traditions, if you will, they would have it where one group is held way above another intrinsically. Here in the mythology, I made one person like the other, and it commanded them not to do evil, but they chose not to obey. So, what is it saying here? It's saying that evil is a choice. You are born good, but evil is a choice. This is what a comedic practitioner must realize. And this, of course, extends out to all those who practice African tradition, that evil is a choice. I made the hearts in men of men and women so they would not forget the West. So that's another translation. Here it says they will not forget the day of death. So when you remember the West, you're also remembering the ancestors who dwell in the West. Okay? So that the sacred offerings might be made to the divine powers in the districts. So the creator, Ra, is telling you to honor your ancestors and to honor the other Netzeru. So there's no other God but me idea here. So egoism is not baked into the system intrinsically here. So we are recognizing humanity of all, resources for all, and that there are a multitude of expressions of divine powers that exist in the universe. Of course, it all comes from the great one spirit, if you will, of the whole universe. But here you have divine forces that have their own agencies that the creator recognizes. Thus we recognize. And then the last one here, thus I have created the divine powers from my sweat and humans from the tears of my eye. So what is it? That's consubstantiality. Again, that is that we come from the creator. we are made up of the same substance as the Creator. All right. So this is one of our highest. This is our highest values. Slide. So let's go into the ancestral inscriptions, and or the tomb inscriptions. I'll go to the next. So this comes from the tomb of Paheri, located in El Kab. So this starts to speak about character. So my good character raised me high. I was summoned as one who was blameless. Were I to be placed on the scales, I would come out complete, whole, and sound. I came and went with a steady heart. I told no lie to anyone. I knew the nectar who dwells in man. Let's stop there. Check this out. We've heard the black man is God. We've heard God dwells in you, if you will. Here in the 18th dynasty, we have written evidence of a man named Paheri. He was a scribe. He was a sesh. He says, I knew the nectar who dwells in people. So we have the written evidence that we have this realization already. And I like to add that when you go to the 1850s, you have the ancestor Martin Delany. And Martin Delany said, the Ethiopians and the Egyptians were the first of all men to recognize the similitude between God and man. To back this up. But however, well, in addition to, you see how you have the good character, you're starting with that, which then culminates into you recognizing nature. We see the associations here and being blameless and being able to be on the scales. Slide, please. All right. So let's continue with the Sebayit, the books of wise instructions. Slide. So we're continuing on characters. So Ptahhotep. Ptahhotep says, the nature of a man of standing is useful for him. For a good character will be a memorial. So people remember you for the good deeds that you do. This is the value system here. So now let's jump perhaps maybe almost 1,500 years later to Shashanki. We see consistency here. It is in the development of character that instruction succeeds. So a combative practitioner values good character. Slide, please. Continue, Shashanki. So we have the value of reciprocity. So we speak about Ma'at, we have truth, justice, reciprocity, etc. Shashanki says, serve your nature that he may guard you. Serve your brothers that you may have good repute. Serve a wise man that he may serve you. Serve any man that you may find profit. Serve your father and your mother that you may go and prosper. So we value reciprocity. You serve in serving others because you know it will happen for you as well. This is balance. Slide, please. So let's talk about dignity, justice, and respect. Slide. All right. Is that too small for y'all? Are y'all good?
You know what? I think for them it's occupying the bulk of the screen. It's just little for us.
Okay. All right. So this is the instructions of Amenemhotep. Do not incline to the well-dressed man and rebuff the one in rags. So he's saying, as an alternate translation, do not give considerations to those in clean clothes and reject those who appear in rags. Do not accept the gift of a powerful man and deprive the weak for his sake. Ma'at is the great gift of nature. He gives it to whom he wishes. The might of him who resembles him. It saves the poor from his tormentor. Do not make yourself false documents. Don't falsify oracles and the scrolls and thus disturb the plans of nature. Again, it just goes back to that equality. Treat people equally, treat people with dignity. Because a person has a lot of money doesn't mean that you should treat that person better than a person who doesn't have money. So a combative practitioner values that equality of dignity. Next, please. Watch this. So give this. So give a hand to an elder sated in beer. Respect him as his children would. The arm is not hurt by being barred. The back is not broken by bending it. So again, this is respecting elders. Even if you see your elder in a lowly state, you are still to respect that elder. You are still to respect the elder and respect him or her as the children would be. And it's not going to harm you to give that respect. And that's what he's relaying to us here. Slide, please. All right, honoring elders, giving mutual respect. Let's continue. Next, please. So again, let's continue with we have Amen Opet, chapter 27 says, do not revile one older than you. He has seen Ra before you. So to those on the younger generation, don't go out of your way to embarrass the elder. Don't do that. Don't denigrate them. Okay. Because they've earned their dignity. So you maintain their dignity. And at the same time, Rekmi Rai says, do not scold a man wrongfully. So then we'll say for our elders to, not to scold maybe those younger than you. Okay. I'll be an elder in a few years, I guess. Kind of like in between, it's creeping up on me. So I'm thinking about, okay, what kind of elder do I want to be? But I have plenty of good examples around. All right, excellent. Next slide. Fairness. So Rick Murray, he says, do not judge unfairly. Nature arbors partiality. This is an instruction. Plan to act accordingly. Regard the one you know like the one you don't know. One near you like one far from you. Okay? So that echoes a previous saying about treating people equally. But in this case, when you are in a leadership position, you have to have a level of objectivity. Okay? So as a combative practitioner, we want to value fairness among people and how we judge conflicts between ourselves and others, or if we're a third party, or even conflict within ourselves with something. Next, please. All right, General Sharon, let's go there. Next. All right, so this comes from the text from Tuma Harkuth, who was a translator and a dignitary in the Old Kingdom. Line 5, on the facade or the outside of the tomb, he says, I gave bread to the hungry, clothes to the naked, and I brought to land him who had no boat. So what is this? Community service, y'all. Do you give food? So food drives. So the question is, are you part of an organization, whether it's your temple, your shrine, or it could be a separate organization that participates in food drives, clothing drives, doing for others who have less than you do? And this particular phrase here, I've given bread to the hungry, clothes to the naked, and brought to land him who had no boat. This is part of what's called the Declarations of Virtues. It is very common. You will find this in the Pertum Heru. You can find in the Pertum Heru in what's called the New Kingdom, or the second rebirth, or Wehemi Mesut, if you will. All right. So that type of generosity is pinnacle. because that's consistent throughout the history of Kemet. Next slide, please. All right. So ritual. Ritual in an African context, it allows you to participate in the cycles of life, in the cycles of the universe. It is deliberate, it is planned. You are no longer a passerby. Marimba Ani, in her book, uh, Let the Circle Be Unbroken, she outlines this in very good detail of the function of ritual in the African centered context. Okay, that we are part of what makes the universe move and go around by participating in ritual. And in the Kemetic, one of the Kemetic phrases for ritual is Iri Ket Necher. Iri Ket Necher mean the ceremonies or doing things for the Necher, or do the divine doings, if you will. All right, next, please. So when you're engaged in ritual, you have to be clean. You have to be clean in ritual purity. So the utmost of hygiene, the utmost hygiene. So when you go to the pyramid text, you see cleansed is he who is cleansed in the field of rushes. Cleansed is Ra in the field of rushes. Cleansed is he who is cleansed in the field of rushes. Cleansed is Wanasa or Unes in the field of rushes. All right. Pardon me. I guess the meta didn't translate on the email there, but it's all right. All right. So what you see here from the pyramid text in the Sixth Dynasty in particular is a poetic forms of you doing what the Necher does. You are being cleaned just like Ra, so that the Netzeru are our examples. So when we're doing what they're doing, that means we are also assuming their forms by doing an action akin to their actions. Next, please. So we'll go to the Perta Meru, go through 125th chapter. This section is after the 42 declarations of innocence. And it says this: I have done Ma'at for the Lord of Ma'at. I am pure. My front is pure. My rear is pure. My middle has been in the well of Ma'at. No limb of mine is unclean. I have washed in the well of the south. I have halted at the town of the north, in the meadow of the grasshoppers, where the crew of Ra bathes by day and by night. So if we were to copy this, okay, like your entire body has to be scrubbed and clean. We didn't have to wait for the Abrahamic practitioners to know how to clean ourselves. I'm sure the Infodici would agree that we are the one that taught them how to clean themselves, right? So my front is pure, my rear, my middle, no limb is unclean. And look here at the bottom, it says, where the crew of Ra bathes by day and by night. So here it's saying cleaning yourself at least twice a day, if we were to copy the example of the ancestors. Next slide, please. We're almost done. Yeah, my next didn't go through. It's all right. This comes from the tale of a shipwrecked sailor. Wash yourself, pour water over your fingers. Very simple, very simple. So in this case, we have a high regard for being clean every single day. Every single day. And there's a whole plethora of texts that we can speak about in the future. These are our general principles here. Go to the last slide, please. So what do we have in our reflection? We have consubstantiality. So meaning that we are made up of the same substance as the rest of the universe, thus shared value. Good character, reciprocity, dignity, justice, respect, honoring others, fairness, generosity, and cleanliness. Okay, that concludes the slides there. I'm going to open it up for discussion.
Ota Baba Fundishi.
Okay.
Well, I think he hit all of the points, or the points were well taken. Um, I don't know if there's any there up for debate. We as Kemetic spirits, we understand that we are divine spiritual beings having a divine human experience. And so the only thing I would add to that is that something that I teach is talking about 6 points as Kemetic practitioners, especially as pre-scientists, because that's what we are. We're scientists. We're not just priests. We're not religious. We're spiritual pre-scientists. Is that we all understand that we are an aspect of the nature. So we all were sent here. And we're sent here on a mission. Everybody has some particular skills. We have to study, to learn, to study, and to share. What my brother just did now was sharing and teaching. Some of us are not teachers, but we can all share this concept. And so the best way to share is by living the life. So it's not necessarily what you say, it's what you do. So all those principles that Sanjeti, we need to see that in a person's life.
Right. Right.
Okay, that's important. Okay. And then to love. And love is the ultimate language. It says, go among the multitudes and teach the gospel to all creatures. So that's not a spoken language. That is an action. Love is a universal language that all animals and creatures understand. I can't be talking about the 7 principles of Ma'at to my dog or to my cat or to the tree, but I can show love and teach through that example. And then once you understand the aspect of love, then you understand that the nature of a warrior is here to protect all that he loves. So I teach that no matter what your profession is, no matter what kind of priest you are, you have to be a warrior. You're a warrior and a farmer. You're a warrior and an educator. You're a warrior and an architect. It's best to be a warrior in times of battle, and we're at war, than to be just a farmer who have no skills of war. And then and let me just say that again, everything that you love, you need to protect. So that starts with self, family, friends, neighborhood, your people, and the planet itself. That's what the natural rule is all about. We are all those aspects. So if you truly are living in love, mer, which means to cultivate, then you understand how warriorship is important. And let me say this, when Kemet fell and we had the invaders begin to take over, you notice that religion came into existence. And a religious priest is not a warrior. He can't walk among rhino, elephants. He can't walk among the wolves and teach with protection. The Kemetic priests, the Asiatic priests of all times, that's the Taoist priests. These people came into existence around the 6th century when Persia conquered Kemet. And then those priests were spread out through the Persian Empire all the way through China and Japan, that we see that all of those spiritual teachers were priests. The Buddhist monk is a priest. He is a warrior first, who's capable of teaching the gospel. And then at the end of that is perfect your gift and give it to the world. I'll conclude with that.
I just wanted to say just a few words too. So much appreciation.
Can you all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We can. And dua to you,
yes.
say about Sanjeti. I just wanted to just say 4 things. I really appreciate that excellent list. I was smiling as you were going through it because I let that brother read the same books we read, the same text we read. So I really appreciate that. That's actually one of the things I want to highlight. To me, one of the things that you explicated, that you expressed, is that, one who is engaged in the practice of Kemetic culture studies the text, right? There's a particular text that says, I had it on my screen a minute ago, as I don't want to misquote. Copy your fathers, your ancestors, see their words and do in books, open them, read them, and copy the knowledge, right? And so, one of the key ideas to be engaged, with the wisdom of Kemet, which is mediated through the literature. The second thing is, Baba Mufundishu spoke to this, and you spoke to this as well, that our charge is to give life, power, and health, right? And one of the things that's important is that in the text, it refers to the nature giving life, power, and health. And Dr. Jacob H. Carruthers wrote about this, that consequently, as humans, as extensions of the natural manifestations of that in the world, our charge correspondingly is to give life, power, and health. And one of the things, Bob, I really appreciate that you said that you talked about love, right? The practice of myrrh. And this, I think, is at the heart of what you said also, Siva Sanjeti, the idea, because in the text, I'm thinking about Hatshepsut, where she talks about how she did that which the nature loves. I think I did that which Ray loves, and so when one of the ways in which people enacted myrrh, one of the ways in which people expressed love in the ancient Nile Valley is by practicing those principles which were sacred to the culture. And that was one of the ways that love was enacted. It was not simply through words, "Oh, I love you so much," but it was reflected in what they did, how they lived. The third thing is, Baba and Fundisha, you made this point, and it was a very powerful one, right? You have to live the teachings. And, and I think I'm referenced what Ptahhotep said earlier about everyone teaches as they act. But one of the most basic ways we teach is through our speech, through the practice of Medu-Nefer, the practice of good speech. And so if you might not be out here quoting text to people. You might not be out here, writing, teaching Medu-Nefer to the masses, but you can demonstrate the wisdom of the ancestors through your speech, through the simple act of practicing good speech. And the last thing is the process of Suruj Ta, which is the restoration of the world, right? The ancestors, and you see this throughout the history of Kemet, where the different ruler would come to power, and they would say, well, I restored that which had been destroyed, I revitalized, I reclaimed these ancient texts and made them available to the people again. So this idea of Suruj Ta, this idea of restoring the world, is also one of the charges. And so, and this is again to Baba Mufundishu's point, one of the problems with many of the Asian traditions is like the ethical orientation is great. The idea of the cultivation of the mind, the development of wisdom is great. But oftentimes those practices are oriented around one's own personal enlightenment. It's about, Raketi writes about this in a book, Life Center, Life Living Ma'at. In the Nile Valley, the emphasis was on the creation of conditions of enlightenment for all, right? This is why the practice of Ma'at at all levels of the society, both personally, but as well as at the level of the state, was so vitally important. And so each of us were given the charge of Suruj Ta, that is the charge of restoring the world. And we have that charge today. And so for us, the practice of Kemetic spirituality isn't about what we do personally, but it's about what we attempt to enact in our communities and ultimately the world. So dua.
And I'd also like to say,
That's right.
Uncle Jasineb, to one of my teachers, Mpathishi Chihuidames, who is on with us here. I sat at his feet in my last year as a teenager when I first started with him. So, so we have some history here, and it's always good to, share the same space, with your teachers, and hopefully that, he has, some pride in, my development, because I just turned 45, so that was, it's been a minute. Yeah, just turned 45 last month. Had some growth since being a teenager. So Uncle Jasineb.
You are that shit.
Do I? Brother Kamal Rashid, I put that quote in our chat.
I saw it. I appreciate that. Dua.
Yeah. I was on it. So just imagine, and again, I'll say this again, while Infodisha is here, imagine being a young man and, you have this elder, full of energy, like you drink like 10 Red Bulls, full of like from beginning all the way to the end. And, and we're practicing Kupagana Gumi, and we tired, we sweating, he's still, I'm like, man. And at the end of the class, it was times where we would sit down literally at your feet. So you would be in the chair and we're sitting on the floor, So it was both symbolic and literal at the same time. Um, those retreats that you took us on, all those years ago, and over a period of many years, has had a great impact on me. Experiences that I would not have had anywhere else. Uh, I was able to experience facing my fears in many ways. I remember, I think it was West Virginia. I think it was West Virginia where we drove up the mountain, and I was scared because we had to go around the edge of the mountain where you just look over and you might be tumbling over. But anyway, we get up there, and we spent a couple of
No,
days there,
no, sir.
and uh, there we had to do the Underground Railroad, so we had to go on a nature walk. So during the day, we would go walk down the mountain. He would show us different plants, etc., and actually liken certain plants to Meadow Nature signs. Okay, I remember he pointed up to the sky and drew like how the pet sign is. This is the sign
Hmm.
for sky. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if you remember that, but I do, and that
Tell me,
impacted me.
to what?
Um, th- and the thing is, we had to do the nature walk at night. So I'm like, okay, I just kind of memorized where we went, and we had to go in different groups. And he said, Sanjay,
Hmm.
your group is going down the mountain backwards. I'm like, oh no. So in a place we've never been before, in the mountains at night backwards. So I don't know how we did it, but I'm here today. So yeah, I'll admit I was scared, but I couldn't show that fear. So I never told you back then, but I think it's safe to say. But I got through it. But you forced me to face my fears because somehow you believed I could do it, and I did
And
it.
where there's no struggle, there's no progress. Where there's no pressure, you don't turn into the diamond that you are.
That's a fact.
Mm,
And so
mm,
that is the job of the elders. That's the job of the teachers, is to make sure that you understand the obstacles. And the way is the obstacle. Don't avoid it. You become victorious by conquering the obstacle. You run towards it, not away from it. You run
mm,
towards the problem.
That's a fact.
You run towards
Mhm.
those things they say you can't do.
mm,
And that's what makes you the man, the woman, the nature.
mm. I'll share another experience. We were as we were going through our initiation, we went to it was the Brooklyn Museum, and we were there, squad deep in our purple dashikis, and the tour guide walked up to Infodici and he said, "Do y'all need a tour guide?" And Infodici looked at him. We're okay, thank you. And I thought he was going to say, "No, you need to be on our tour." um, so we were going through very educational, and I remember again we were taking Metal Lecture, and in Radishi, you were reading some inscriptions like a typewriter. That's the only way I could articulate it back then. You were just reading it. Dun, dun, dun. I'm like, wow. And then he said Sanjeti. And I'm like, wait a minute. I started sweating. He said, read. Oh man. I'm like, oh man. It's like 9 other people here. Why you gotta pick me? So I went up there. I struggled. He was correcting me. But I did it. I'm here now. I'm here today. Uh, with teaching Meta Nature. But I would not be where I am had I not had those experiences. because I learned Meta Nature completely organically, completely organically, be it in the classroom or out in nature. Do I? Do I?
Brother Kamal, can I make a statement on that Medu Neter?
Yes, sir.
I teach the Medu Neter from a symptomatic perspective, the symptomatic view. That means I make sure that you understand how the ancient Kemet understood it. Not understood it. We're not under no, but understand it. To understand. It's important for you to know why the dung beetle means transformation. It's important for you to understand why the falcon means higher consciousness. It's important for you to understand why they chose each creature in the Medu Neter, every bird. I make my students do a report on every symbol in the Medu Neter so they know it the way the Neteru understood it. Not what the Egyptologist said, not what it says in the book, but I want them to internalize it so that they are the language, they are the culture. I don't want them to think like they're in New York, Philly, or whatever, reading Medu Neter. No, you are the Kemet in the present day. Because yesterday, today, and tomorrow is all now. So I want you to be there when you're reading those texts. I want you to see what they saw, feel what they saw. So nature, you are one with nature. You're not trying to conquer it. You're not trying to do you're trying to be one with all of these elements so that now
That's right.
the ancestors are talking to you personally.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just reading something abstract.
Mm-hmm.
You feel that. You're emotionally attached to it because you have invested in understanding yourself as nature itself. And nature is organic. The Western world takes a freeze and then you study this freeze. Nature's already moved past the freeze. So you're studying something that's not even there anymore. You are becoming a living entity being. So I want the Medu Neter to be alive for you.
Mm.
And it is constantly, as your consciousness grows, the Medu Neter grows. And your understanding of the universe grows. Dua Neter.
Oh, that's fine.
Do I?
As
Dua and Tur,
as I'm listening.
Rishi, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I apologize. I'm on a little bit of a delay. Thank you for your words, Baba Infodishi. They're always so vivid. I feel like I was in West Virginia with you, Sanjeti. I went to Guatemala in 2010 or whatever. And it was right after Guatemala had those slides. And I landed in one part of Guatemala and had to take a bus across the country because I was going to the Spanish school. And we were going up this mountain and I was just like, it wasn't the widest like pathway for the bus to be on. And I was like, why can't I just be a regular Black girl? Why am I in Guatemala by myself on the side of this mountain? I was like, I'm gonna just look out the window. But anyway, so it wasn't West Virginia, but I have my own little experience that's kind of similar. Kenneth Asian Nor 633 asked, from Hamet's perspective, what actions do you suggest to shed your old religious life for that of a Kemetic practitioner? I'm going to answer, but I also would like for the rest of the panel to answer as well. I can speak from my personal experience. First and foremost, as I kind of shared earlier, I was ready. I was like, listen, I am ready to pray to God, like from the language I used before, and praying to Black God. For me at the time, I had been doing yoga and meditating when it's quiet before the sun rises, and just kind of calming the breath is I would say for me, one of the first entry points that I had to being able to sit still in order to really hear what our ancestors are saying to us and our ability to learn, like from the example Baba and Fudishi just gave, you're going to learn the Mantu nature by actually seeing it happen in nature. You cannot absorb that if you are not able to think introspectively and be still. So for me, practicing yoga was a good part for me to be able to sit still and breathe, or even be walking and breathing and being aware of myself, like internally. Okay. The second thing that is pretty practical was I've had a pretty decent diet for the majority of my life, but to make sure that you cut out all the junk. I remember at one point I'm like, no more sodas, no more potato chips, no more cookies, just things I would have here and there, but I still ate them. So if it's in a bag like potato chips, don't eat it. If it's frozen, or frozen maybe if it's like frozen fresh or something like that, no more fast food, no more of those kinds of things. And once you purge that out of your diet and it's not in your body, you start to feel, I don't know, a connection to a higher like self that I never experienced when I ate kind of regular food. The third thing I did was I incorporated fasting and enemas and, just eating foods that help you cleanse your colon. Again, I do Bikram yoga. It helps you to sweat. If you work out, make sure you're sweating and purging. When you take care of your body physically, you can physically feel the difference. You physically feel that difference, and it's tangible. And so you're able to see the difference and feel the difference. And that invites a space for something that's more spiritual, for something that enables you to live a Kemetic life. Like, I used to eat beef hot dogs, y'all. One of my last cheat meals was in the summer of 2012, and I had a chili dog from Nathan's down by Penn Station. It was good. I ain't even gonna lie, that's the best cheat meal I ever had. You see, I remember the date. Would I have a hot dog in 2026? Not even tempted to, because my experience living, as in the Kemetic space, ain't no hot dogs over here. And so if you take baby steps that are tangible, that are easy in your current life, and you keep going down that path while you study, while you take museum tours, while you visit and learn at Baba and Fudishi's feet, while you take the Medu Neter, while you look at YouTube videos of people who are actual scholars, those are tangible, doable, relatively inexpensive free steps that you can take right now. So what I would do if I were you, and anybody else who has this question, is to make a list of things that you know that you can get rid of. And just like what Baba Fudishi said, you have to run to the obstacles. If you know that you like Doritos, there's this other flavor I used to like. I can't even remember it now because I don't eat it, but that used to be my jam. That was one of my cheat meals. If you know that those are things that you like that you shouldn't do, write those down and really be concrete about the top 3 things you're going to get rid of, the top 5 things you're going to get rid of, something that's tangible, and you do it. And you run towards that obstacle, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and you might not like it, and that's too bad, because that's how things go when you want to make a change. Over time, and not even a long period of time, you will have made irrevocable changes for the better. And it's easier than you think. So for tonight, your homework, write down 3 things you know you shouldn't be doing, consuming, and get rid of it. Pork should be one of them. That's a freebie. If y'all eating pork, I need to stop doing that. We're going to have a whole nother Tuesday talk on pork. That ain't even one of your 3. If you're doing that, stop doing that. Then do 3 other things that you know you should get rid of, and just do those things. Soda is a good one. Get rid of that. That does so much damage to your body. Potato chips do so much damage to your body. And then maybe something else. So those are tangible, practical steps that you can take to kind of get rid of that feeling okay, of damage to the body, so that you put yourself in a space that welcomes in the spirit, and you're able to go into a Kemetic lifestyle from that while you're learning. I hope that made sense, you guys. That's kind of how I was kind of doing it parallel, not necessarily putting the two together for the sake of them being together, but that was just kind of how it progressed with me in my life.
Mhm. And if I may, in a future presentation, I want to demonstrate the pork taboo that's found in the text, that's written in the text. So this strengthens the resolve to get rid of pork.
Mm-hmm.
So we have images that make the implication of of pigs in general, or black pig being not favorable, but we actually have it written in text. So that's going to come in the future. And so if you say, well, I'm knowing Kemet where it said don't eat pork. Oh, it says that it's an abomination. You know, it didn't say taboo, it said abomination. That's the word for it. So we'll get to that. So yes. So although there are dietary restrictions in Kemet, um, you know, of course they do eat fit. They've eaten fish, um, oxen to be specific. You know, they don't eat cow because that's Heru. Um, so bird, fruits, vegetables, legumes, oxen, etc. Those were eaten, but you know we want to have a healthy diet today. But above all, that pig is an abomination. So, and one thing you can do is when you go to these museums, you can also look at some museum artifact catalogs online as well. Uh, you can look at the what's called the Hotep Dinasut formula. They show you what the offerings are. So you can either look at the formula if you're reading the text. You can even look at the depictions.
Mm.
Do you ever see a pig put on a pyre or used as an offering? No, it's not part of the regular offerings. So you want to go off of that. Now you may find online that a city, they believe it's they call it in Greek, they call it Mendes, that's in the north, that once a year they sacrifice the pig, you know, but look where it's at. It's in the north. You don't find that in the south. Okay. And again, we're talking about documentary evidence here. So if it's way in the north, more than likely they're in contact and communication with those who come from Western Asia, more than likely. So, but in the South, absolutely not.
Mm.
I did find, one last thing on
That's right.
cleansing. I did find a text actually earlier where there was a 14-day cleanse taking place. Uh, you know how you have the three tales of wonder, like the tale of Jet Ankh or Jaja Ankh, and you have Jedi the magician, where he severed a bird's head and put it back on, etc.
Mhm.
It's from the Old Kingdom. But there's one of those stories where it was a woman who did a 14-day cleanse. It actually said a 14-day cleanse. So that's being comedic right there. So
I just want to do off of that, Bob,
Hmm.
so, and I just want to add just four things relative to that question. Well, three things. One is just decentering, you know, a conceptual decentering being the first thing. Um, you know, one of the problems is that, particularly, you know, because of the situation that we're in, at the center of our consciousness are alien concepts. And so decentering those concepts, you know, one of the things that Dr. Jakovich Brothers will talk about is the idea that one of the problems is that, for example, the Egyptologists translate nature as God. And so in our mind, you know, when discerning, we see then this sort of equal sign, this Kemetic concept of divinity, that is nature, equals this Eurasian concept of God, and this is a very problematic, equivalency, a false equivalency. And again, Sabason Jedi, I think in this presentation talked about again the nuances, the complexity, the richness of nature as a concept in his presentation. But I'll just add that one of the things that Dr. Carruthers will talk about is this idea that there's no ritual of disalienation in Kemet, right? So when you talk about divesting yourself of Abrahamic religious concepts, there's no ritual of disalienation in Kemet, right? Because as he would say, as Dr. Carruthers would say, divinity is at hand. Right, you're already that. You're already divine. The process then, the challenge is the cultivation of that, the development of that, through the practice of Ma'at, through the practice of Medu Nefer and the like. The second thing is study. Studying Medu Nefer, studying the Sebayet, that is the wisdom teaching. Studying Medu Neter, studying the language, studying the Sebayet, that is the wisdom literature, and also studying with teachers, studying with Sebas. Seba who exemplify, the African way. And then the third thing is just the importance of rituals. And I really appreciate what was said earlier about both Seba Sonjeti as well as Baba Fundisha in terms of the importance of rituals. 3 rituals in particular is the Wapet Rinpet. We do it, the Temple of the African Community in Chicago does it every year. I think we do it in September. And it's the Kemetic New Year celebration, and it's a very important piece because it's to again reorient us in terms of time and space. A second one would be the festival that we do every summer in I think it's June. The Heb Nefer in Enet, the beautiful Feast of the Valley. It's a festival focused on the commemoration of the ancestors. And admittedly, I didn't go year after year after year. I would not go, and I finally went last year. It was a wonderful experience. But those festivals, again, are to one, situate us in the practice of the tradition, but also reorient how we think of things. Because in the Abrahamic tradition, the only ancestors that matter are the ancestors in that particular literature, right? The characters within those traditions' sacred texts, not your ancestors. Your ancestors are not considered sacred. Your ancestors are not considered worthy of remembrance. And so it's an important part of that decentering is by engaging in practices that center our ancestors. Then finally, to Sebastian Jetty's point, this idea of purity, this purifying the mind, purifying the body, purifying the spirit, that's an important piece as well. And I say that because we live in a society that's predicated upon the practice and the celebration of Isfet. So we have to guard ourselves and guard our minds. So that's it.
Whew. Isfet. Chaos.
Yeah, that was a good build. To my big brother, it was a good build there.
Sen Kamal, thank you for that response.
Do I?
Yeah, and I think what Infodishi has taught and what our brother Kumar Rashid has expounded upon to answer our brother in the chats questions is really about living it, and then taking those concepts and contemplating on those concepts. And something that may not be spoken about as much is incorporating these words into your daily language. Use these words in your speech, because by doing so, you are bringing it into existence in your own life. And as a Kemetic practitioner, we read the text called Knowing the Transformations of Ra and Overthrowing Apep. Okay? And that is located on a 5th century papyrus called the Papyrus of Nessi Amsu. And he was a high priest of Ra, I believe about 450 BCE. And this particular copy of that is where the creator of Ra, in the form of Nebertir, says, when I came into existence, I came into existence before existence existed. And every time the creator says existence, it's the word keper. And keper is, as a verb at the root, it means to be, to exist. And then it extends to mean to transform. And further extension to evolve, keper the root. Okay? So the idea that nature, of course, in English, they'll translate it as God, but I don't think that even though some would translate it as God, I don't think that the worldviews match. Because when Europeans think of the divine, they have a different relationship with history and the environment than we do. So when we're saying, let's say before we do the word nature, when we're saying peace, God, right? When we're using labels like that, we have a different worldview per se. And we're saying nature, we're saying Orisha, we're saying Loa. It's a different worldview because at the core, we have a different relationship with the universe, with the environment. Ergo, it's a different trajectory. See, it's a different trajectory. But for us, I'm going to use the English word because if I'm speaking to someone who's, we're bringing them into the culture, they're still using the word God. So that's what we say, well, God is existence for us. By virtue of the fact that Kepler, as the root word means to exist. See what I'm saying? So existence is nature. Nature is existence. So this is our argument that we made years ago, Brother Wujal, sorry, Matep, and myself, against those who profess atheism or those who would say black atheism. Like, it's nonsensical. You can't be that and be African centered at the same time. It doesn't work because it's not going to work because you can't say I exist. I deny existence while existing. Like it's an oxymoron. It's nonsense. You see what I'm saying? So Kepler is our view of the world, our relationship, and that nature is existence. So you want to go through your transformation, your evolution, your Keplerization, if you will. You want that to. So, sister, I hope we did okay. I hope we did okay for you.
Of course, you always do. Um, Tonight was a great build. Absolutely. Urban Lotus Living. Yes, that's exactly what this was. Um, I see Afrosynthesis TV says reminds me of being of Baba Jacob Carruthers, Mazid Jedi Shamsu Jehuti translation of the Shabaka Stone. When I happening itself happened. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we follow other people's ideologies, it just sounds ridiculous and looks silly. How you a black atheist? Stop playing. So
yeah,
that made no sense. But thank you for definitely giving an answer for everything. I want to look through some of the comments, make sure that I address some of the comments because a lot of good ideas come from the comments as well. Perfect your gift and give it to the world. That's in reference to what Baba Mfudishi had said earlier. We're all here with a mission. Imagine if we all fulfilled our missions. This ISFET wouldn't reign supreme like it does. I think as more people wake up, to use a common term, we see ISFET being challenged. I believe we see ISFET being challenged more than us looking at just ISFET just kind of sitting and resting and work and ruling. Let's see. It says follow footsteps. Their words endure in books. I love the Grandmaster's laughter, great sense of humor. That definitely was in reference with Mfudishi. I think we need to bring back those types of initiations. Being in West Virginia by itself is kind of scary. West Virginia, that's the scary part right there. I hope that my answer for how to incorporate living a Kemetic lifestyle is kind of an easy entry into it to kind of come out of this world that we live in, like a worldview, and then back into kind of how our ancestors lived, but be practical and functional in this world in 2026.
Mhm.
Okay. I was kind of good at looking at the chat and getting all the comments. So are there anything else that any of you would like to say before we come to a close?
Live my art, and the reward for living my art is to receive my art. Dua.
That's right. Mm. Mm. Sanjeti, Kamau, either of you want to say something?
I'll just say, just to echo Baba, Jed Ma'at, Ir Ma'at, Speak Ma'at, Do Ma'at.
All right. I was going to allow my big brother and my elder to speak first. Be not arrogant because of be knowledge. Take counsel with the ignorant as well as the wise. For for knowledge has not been set, nor has anyone reached them. For wisdom is rarer than emeralds and could be found amongst the maids at the grindstones. Tahota, favorite, the one I said. That's a shot.
Okay, and with that, I'm going to say thank you for coming on tonight. We had a nice viewership this evening. Thank you for staying on tonight. As always, has just been super dope. We have so many amazing, great teachers who make a somewhat esoteric concept understandable and livable. And so, with that for this evening, I hope that this resonates. You know, you can always look back and take notes and really try to live this life. There's so much peace in living in Ma'at, so much peace. So with that, I say Shemin Hotep, and peace and blessings. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Shem Hotep, Uncle Justin.
Uncle Uja Seneb Neb. Dua.
Life, Power, Health.
I know that's right.